Hi, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Food History at Home. Last week we showed you how to make butter from scratch, and this week we will show you how to put that butter to good use by making cookies. The first cookies date as far back as the 7th century Iran, which was at the time known as Persia. The cookies were thought to be test cakes that the bakers would use to test the oven temperature, since of course at that time you were not working with an oven thermometer. Cooking and baking techniques and ingredients spread into Europe and evolved, and eventually in the 1600s, Dutch and English immigrants brought the cookie to America. Here we have the Woodstock Women's Club cookbook from 1910, where we could see the rich variety of cookies baked by women from the local community over 100 years ago. The quote at the top of the page reads, "O weary mothers mixing dough, don't you wish that food would grow? Your lips would smile, I know, to see a cookie bush or donut tree." While we probably won't find a cookie bush or a donut tree in our backyard anytime soon, there have been and are plenty of McHenry County bakeries that serve local residents and specialize in cookies. Here is an ad from 1932 for Hosley's Bakery in Woodstock announcing a new low price of just 18 cents for a dozen cookies. Sal Yan cookies were made in Fox River Grove. Here's an ad from 1951 for fresh broken cookies that were sold at reduced prices. Did you know that in the 1930s in Whitman, Massachusetts, the famous chocolate chip cookie came to be? Whitman is where passengers paid their toll, changed horses, and fueled up on a good meal. Ruth Graves Wakefield was the owner and talented chef at the Toll House Inn. Around 1938, Ruth broke apart a Nestle semi-sweet chocolate bar and added the pieces to her classic butter drop dew cookies. The chocolate chunks in the baked cookies didn't completely melt, so Ruth called them chocolate crunch cookies. While some think this was a happy accident, others say that Ruth was a very experienced baker and the new cookie recipe was very much intentional. The cookies quickly became a local favorite, and they became popular with the World War II soldiers after being included in their care packages. Today, Kathy will share with you her family recipe for old-fashioned butter drop cookies.
These simple, delicious butter cookies require only 5 ingredients: 1 cup of butter, 3/4 cups of sugar, 1 egg yolk, a teaspoon of vanilla, and 2 cups of flour. Before you get started with the ingredients, preheat your oven to 375 degrees. Cream the room temperature butter and sugar until light and fluffy. Then add the egg yolk and vanilla and continue mixing. Gradually add the flour and keep mixing just until everything is well combined. Using a small cookie scoop, drop onto ungreased cookie sheets. Lightly press down with 2 fingers. If you would like, add cookie sprinkles, sugar, or nuts to the top of each cookie before baking. Bake for approximately 10 minutes until the bottom of cookies just begin to lightly brown. As we wait for our cookies to finish baking, let's take a look at some of the baking artifacts we have in our collection. We have various fun-shaped cookie cutters. These are from 1935. We have the hatchet, flower, and rosette shapes. This is another cookie cutter with a Cataline advertisement. Cataline was a brand of shortening made in the U.S. from 1868 until the early 20th century. Here is a measuring cup that would be used when baking, and a metal egg beater from 1915. A very useful tool would be a kitchen timer, so you knew when to check on your cookies. Speaking of that, I think our butter drop cookies might be ready. Here we have the delicious finished product. Enjoy!
Thank you, Kathy, and thank you everyone for joining us today, and we hope that you will try this recipe at home. Please join us in 2 weeks as we teach you how to make sourdough bread with a local baker. We would like to thank our members for making online educational programming like this possible, so please consider becoming a member. Thank you and see you soon.